Well, hello, Scott Stevens, Goldsboro City Manager, back for our monthly update. They seem to come quicker and quicker, and I guess that's a good part of our business. We are back from the holidays. I hope all of you enjoyed your time with family and friends. I know many of us here at the city enjoyed that, and I certainly did myself. We worked through the holidays, but now it's time, our new year started, we're all back, and so we all are all back ready to work, I guess back to normal hours. A couple exciting things going on in Goldsboro and Wayne County. The first thing I'd like to share is there was an industry announcement very recently with Balfour Beatty Rail, an expansion in Goldsboro, 29 new jobs, $1 million in investment, and I think it speaks very well for the economy in Goldsboro and Wayne County. Anytime you have a company that expands, it's a good news for your community. It's better than even a new announcement, because if they already know how to make money here and they're expanding here as opposed to somewhere else, that really speaks well for the local community. So again, kudos to Wayne County and the city of Goldsboro and the community here that supports this industry and their expansion. It is coming with some grant funds from the state, $60,000, and then $30,000 from the city and the county. So we will match that grant, which is required of the state funding. But I think it's a good use, and many of us are not inclined to give incentives. It is still good to provide an expansion in this community, and the incentives do pay for themselves in a very quick manner. I want to mention crime. We've talked about that at most of these, or at least a lot over the last 6 months. We did have 13 homicides in Goldsboro as we closed out the year of 2012, and that's a lot. One's too many, but 13's a lot for our community, much higher than our average. And I hope that in response you're hearing some of the things we're doing of more community-oriented policing, more visibility, a mobile crime center or crime station office that we're moving around, and a lot more effort to seeing us out in the field. We are making arrests, so we're solving these cases, but we want to do more to prevent them. And we are pursuing a new initiative. We've named it here locally GPAC, or Goldsboro Partners Against Crime. And it really is a three-pronged approach of the law enforcement side doing their part, the criminal justice system side doing their part with moving those that we identify to the front of the list, so it takes very little time to get in front of a judge and get a sentencing and a ruling in a case. But the most important part of that is the community, and we're still working through that community piece and trying to make sure we have all three of those pieces in place. The mayor, council member, chief, our coordinator, Sergeant Chero, and myself and some other community members visited High Point December 18th, because this new initiative talks about bringing these people that are most likely to commit crime into a room and putting them on notice. They call it a call-in. They tell them, we're going to move you to the front of the list for everything if you don't change your ways. And if you'll change your ways, we're here to help. And that's the community piece. How do we help? It doesn't guarantee them anything except we're willing to help them make a change, or we're willing to move them to the front of the line in the judicial system if they're unwilling to change. We witnessed that in High Point. It was a very interesting meeting, and we'll invite you, if you're interested, to attend one of ours in the near future. We hope to host that same type of event here and have that same initiative going on here. The results in High Point have been phenomenal. 90% of those that are called in don't commit another violent crime. 90% of the people most likely to commit crime don't commit another violent crime. That is phenomenal in terms of results, and we are expecting that similar result here in Goldsboro. I do want to say with the Partnership Against Crime, if you will contact Sergeant Teresa Chero in our police department, she would be happy to either involve you or inform you about what we're doing. And her number, 580-4305, 580-4305. I said Christmas, the holidays, and we slowed down. Doesn't mean we didn't work. Just before Christmas, the city and the county were made aware of grants from the states to support military activities and concerns to the military, and in particular Seymour Johnson, that might limit their ability to train. The city did apply for those funds, and we were successful in receiving $125,000 from the state, which we have to match, but to apply towards efforts of concern to Seymour Johnson that relate to their mission. And what we intend to use those funds for: birds at the end of the runway continue to be a huge concern to the aircraft as they take off and come over the city's water reclamation facility and the wetlands in those areas and the equalization basins. And so bird nesting areas are a concern. Part of the funds will be used for that. Another portion of the funds will look at ways to continue support of the military and through our Military Affairs Committee. And again, it requires a local match, but it wasn't a grant that we applied for just ahead of Christmas, and we're notified the week following Christmas, and we are completing their memorandum of understanding with the state and expect to put those funds to use very soon. It does require a local match, and we will ask the county if they'll participate in that. But in either case, it's important that to our community that we protect Seymour Johnson, and I think the city will make sure those funds are spent in a very prudent manner. Talk a little bit about current projects or some current activities. I don't want to get too far into projects with this update. I will let you know our City Council is considering adopting a recreation master plan in January. We've had a lot of public meetings on that. It should be something that if you have an interest in, you're aware of it. If you haven't heard about it before and you want to know, please contact my office and we'll make sure our Parks and Rec Director gets in touch with you. Our Parks and Rec Director is Scott Bernard, but if you'll call my office, 580-4330, we will make sure that we get in touch with you about the master plan and what it holds, and if the council has yet approved it. But we expect that approval to come in January, and it's just an update on what we'll do in our parks in the next 5 to 10 to 20 years. We're also in just different business for us. You'll hear us talking about a city council retreat. We tend to do that on an annual basis, a 2-day event. Right now we've scheduled it for February 13th and 14th. It is certainly open to the public, but it will be different than council meetings. That we'll try to have our new city council talk about what's important to them and sort of their vision for the community over the next 3, 5, 10, 15 years, because some of the things we need to start today to complete in 5 or 10 years, if we don't get started, we won't get there. And so we'll just see where our council wants to go, but a visioning part will be included in our retreat and trying to help our elected officials point us in the direction they see us going. And so I would ask you to share your thoughts for the community with all of us ahead of that so that we can incorporate those thoughts and ideas as we go forward. The final thing I'd like to at least share with you is a little update on Streetscape. That project is one we did complete just ahead of the holidays. I hope you've enjoyed or had a chance to take a look at it. It was in the news most recently, and I just share this because I found it interesting that we have an article that sinkholes discovered near Streetscape lights. And the headline itself was a little alarming. The article itself, I think, dismissed it as being a landscape issue, and I would have to agree what occurred there, not a big deal in terms of where we are or any concerns for the street sinking away. I just want to reassure the community the project is a well-built project. We feel very comfortable with that, and the contractor, who's a local firm, is committed to maintaining it through the warranty period, which has not yet begun and will extend for a year. And small areas of settlement in landscaping is not an unusual or alarming kind of event. So I just want to make sure you're comfortable or hear from us that the sinkholes or the depressions, as I would probably refer to those, really are not a big event. And if they do become that, we certainly would let you know. In moving that project forward, the council agreed to allow us to seek engineering proposals, so we are doing that at this time. I wouldn't expect to have any information back for the council to consider until late January, probably early February. So at their second January meeting or their first meeting in February, I would expect the City Council would be considering, do we move forward with the engineering side of the next 2 blocks and getting what those cost estimates would be and what the design might look like. So that's our next news for Streetscape in terms of moving it forward. Still talking a year or more away from construction if the City Council decides to move forward with that project. And I think for today, that's it. As always, I would thank you or encourage you to speak well of the community. It matters. You never know who's listening to you. If we can be of service to you, we are here to serve you, and we look forward to that. Please don't hesitate to call me with questions or comments. You can do it through the website. You can do it through our office. But we'll be happy to respond and look forward to talking with you. And again, we appreciate your interest in us as well. Thanks.